Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the Everton Daily Live. Me and Ned are here. Gonna chat about Danjuma, about Everton, briefly about Everton negotiating a third round replay and moving into the FA Cup fourth round, where they will now face Luton Town, amongst other things as well. Ned, how are you, lad?
I'm not so bad.
It's cold last night there at that match,
It was absolutely grim. I don't know how many times I've sat in Goodison freezing, and it still baffles me how people like Jack Harrison runs around in just a t-shirt. I'm like, you're mad. And I know when you're playing, you're not cold.
No.
And like,
He had his gloves on.
We're all the same when we're playing. You start taking layers off, and you're sweating them. But Jesus, it's bad last night.
I told you I was talking to someone in the Bullens after the game who had a pair of shorts on, and he hadn't been playing. He was just watching the game, and he was like, "Nah, I don't feel a cold." I just couldn't believe it. But we'll come back onto that magnificent game last night. But Danjuma did not get on the pitch last night in a game that I certainly thought he'd be brought on the pitch at some stage. And it was probably crying out for maybe him with half an hour to go, just to liven it up a little bit. I say that potentially because he's not really done much in an Everton shirt. But we've got stories.
Crying out for a change, anyway.
We've got stories today that he is going to move on. I mean, once all of that was kicking off last week, people thought he's definitely going, and he played against Aston Villa, didn't he? But he did go straight down the tunnel when he got brought off.
Yeah.
Wasn't involved last night. It doesn't look like he's got a future at Everton for the rest of the season. That doesn't mean he will definitely go, obviously, but what's your take on it? Were you surprised he didn't get on last night?
No.
Really,
And I wasn't really thinking it when Dobbin came, and I was just like, because I think we were comfortable as well.
Yeah.
And I say that as in we weren't by far the best team. I wouldn't even say necessarily we're the best team. I just thought they were two poor performances last night.
Yeah.
If anything, they were the better team in the first half for me, up until we scored at least. But he's just. It just hasn't gone nowhere near as well as I thought. I thought he'd be a key player at the start of the season, the type of player he is. He's the player who can play up front, number 10 wide, and we haven't quite got that. Especially with Decore not in the team. You think, well, he is someone who can play close to a striker, unlock teams. He's a bit tricky. He has got a bit of, quite a bit of pace in him. But every performance, every all the minutes I've seen them, I haven't seen enough to suggest that he should get a start, even when McNeil is, like last night, not match fit in my opinion, because he was poor last night. McNeil, in my opinion. So when
he didn't have a good game.
So when he's playing however minutes he played, and then Dobbin comes on, who, let's be honest, hasn't exactly set the world alight either. It just shows that you're clearly not in the manager's favour. What I would say is, he's a squad player who's here on loan. If you let him go, are you looking for just to replace that, a squad player? Because who are you going to get? Who's going to come in January? Who's going to let a decent player go and come to a team who can get into Everton's squad realistically? Because we're a mid-table team, so we'd have to get someone pretty good to come and go straight into our team, and you're not going to get that in January. But certainly with the finances we've got, we'd have to get someone on loan. I don't think that's available. So if he's banging the door down to go, and you're going to let him go, then to find a replacement for a squad player or bench warmer, you may be able to find one out there. If you're going to get one better than Danjuma, I don't think so. But personally, I would let him go. But no, I wasn't surprised that he didn't get on last night, because
I was.
Really?
I was.
Even with his links away and what happened at Villa?
Well, he started them though against Villa, and he played 60, whatever it was, 65 minutes.
He only played well for 10 minutes.
Oh, and no, I'm not. Listen, I'm not sat here going. I'm not sat here saying things like, he hasn't been given a chance and he hasn't been done this and he's been treated unfairly and all that. It's not about that, but I just think there's moments in games where he's already. It's not even like, and this isn't even a thing anymore. But years ago, clubs wouldn't play players because they'd be cup tied and all that.
Yeah.
But there's no one in England that wants to take him anyway, so that's irrelevant. And B, I don't think anyone cares anymore. People just play. People bring players on the pitch for 2 minutes, even though they might be leaving to another English club. So I think them days are gone. But last night, I just thought it's all about getting over the line. If the manager has made his mind up and he's just gone, right, we don't know what goes on. Sean Dyche might have been fuming with him on Sunday because he walked straight down the tunnel.
Yeah.
So he might have made his mind up then and gone, right, let this fella go. He doesn't want to be here. He might not. Danjuma, for all we know, might have needed the best. Right? But I just thought he'd freshen it all up. They brought 5 subs on, don't forget. And we made our first sub in about the 84th minute or something.
I think Dyche has got to the point now where
75th minute and then 84th.
I think Villa was a chance for him, probably a last chance for him, because we saw many games where Dobbin would come on and Danjuma wouldn't get a sniff, and then suddenly he gives him a start in January after he's been linked with a move away. Takes him off after an hour and he's storming down the tunnel. I think that's chance gone for him. But I think we get to a point where Danjuma is becoming no option, or like the least favourable option to get on the pitch when he's in the team. Is there even a case where we need to replace him, because he's almost like he's not there anyway.
We do have to replace him.
But I think we're at that point now where we're getting through winter, where we've had all the games, the midweek games, where we're constantly playing, and you pick up all your injuries, and you start to get to that point now, February, March, start of February, back into February, where you're just playing once a week and you're setting to getting a consistent team, or you got all your players back and you start seeing the same team every week. If you replace him, because another one as well, which I haven't even mentioned, the ideal situation this month would be to let Dobbin go out on loan for his own development. That's not going to happen, is it?
No,
but
can it?
I'm not even seeing any real links to players. Obviously, we've had Hannibal Mejbri, who's not even a winger, completely different player. But I'm not even seeing any real links to players who can come in and replace that role that Danjuma's doing. Should become a squad player.
Well, no, there was one. There was I think it was a Brazilian, Brazilian the other day. He was a wide player who Everton were linked with. But I don't know if there's anything in that. There was an early link to another South American winger early on, wasn't there? But
yeah, young lad. Yeah,
he doesn't look like he's going to be pulling up any trees. But I think we need 2 players in, really. We've got a midfield at the moment that is James Garner and Amadou Onana. Andre Gomez is playing almost by default, isn't he? Because there's nobody else.
Yeah.
And listen, he done all right, and he scored a good goal. That was totally unbefitting of the game last night.
Player who's out of contracts in the summer, isn't he?
He's going to leave in the summer anyway. We've got Adelaide Corey with another hamstring injury, so anywhere between 2, 4, 6 weeks with him. Hopefully it's not too bad, but we don't know, do we? So therefore, if we got an injury to, Amadou Onana or James Garner, what would we be left with? Andre Gomez would have to go and play in the one of the two, and he's not quick. The reason why it's kind of working with him at the minute, in a way, is because he doesn't have to do those doggies. He doesn't have to chase people around the pitch. He's almost cheating as a midfielder, a little bit like when Decore plays there, but Decore covers so much more ground. But we've got no options. The next option would be then to give someone like Mackenzie Hunt a go. I'm not against giving young players a go, but the manager doesn't strike you as someone who wants to do that. I mean, when he's bringing on Beto with 4 minutes to go.
Yeah.
You see, if I was Beto, I'd have just gone, I'm not going on, mate. From 4 minutes, are you joking me? Okay, he ended up having 10 because they got 6 minutes from somewhere, but that was a game for him to play in last night, Beto, and he gives him 4 minutes. And I think that's the one, you're going to criticise Sean Dyche. That's what you'd have to point the finger at him. His subs aren't great.
I don't think he uses his squad.
Doesn't like it. And we're getting injuries now.
Yeah.
And players are looking tired. McNeil doesn't look fit. He had a poor game last night, Dwight McNeil. Jack Harrison I think he was trying everything last night. He's had better games than that. His decision making was getting sloppy. That can be tiredness. But we simply don't have, or the manager doesn't believe we've got viable options to change those players. And that's why Danjuma is a strange one, because he hasn't played anywhere near as much as the other two.
It's
have
bad,
played.
isn't it? Because he'll give people like Virginia ago, who I thought Virginia had a good game for the little that he had to do. Whether that's a shot window thing, I don't know. But
Made
then
two great saves. Well, one really good save.
at the end, to keep it 1-0, we could have easily been
Looked
sat
like a
there for
goal.
an extra half an hour.
Oh my God,
imagine that. So
No one wanted that. Hodgson and Dykes didn't want
I
it
like
either.
him even more for that. I think that's why Hodgson took Ezzy off. It's like, let's just make sure
We're
we
getting
get home
beat.
early.
Just leave it now.
But yeah, I think you're right. That was a game for Beto last night, and certainly a chance to rest some players. They had nothing. Palace, they were never scoring a goal last night. I could have told you that before it kicked off.
See how Virginia's had to make a good save to stop them scoring.
Well, I've got confidence in Joe Virginia.
See, if I was Roy Hodgson, I'd be saying to the fourth official, do us a favour, at the start of the game, just put your board up with 45 minutes. The minute he put that board up with 6, it was like they woke up. They kind of went, we'll have a go, and they started attacking.
Where did that 6 minutes come from, by the way? I get the 2 minutes in the first half.
Referee was weird as well. Referee was poor as well. Like, the first, 35 minutes, he kind of refereed it okay.
Yeah.
And then he just lost the plot.
Half. Second half, he just started the yellow again.
Everton got 3 bookings for nothing.
Nonsense. The Dominic Calvert-Lewin one.
That Anderson shoves him over.
Player runs into him, trips over. So he gives Anderson one for being a little bitch. And then Anderson just goes, why me? So he goes, all right then, here's one for Dom as well.
He was clueless, mate. He was clueless. Anyway.
But the call is an interesting one as well. I know he's had a couple of, when I say lengthy, I don't mean like 6 to 9 months. I mean like the odd month. There was one in the lockdown season where we listed him for a month and he came back and he showed he was massive. And there was one where Benitez was manager and we ended up with Fabian Delph playing next to Allen, which was about a lass. But there's been no real, I don't know if it's not a reoccurring injury.
It's the other leg.
But to be out for a lengthy, I'm going to say lengthy, we dropped some points because of it, period of time, and then for him to pick up an injury straight away, it's not a reoccurring, but, a similar injury, it's on his leg. He's 31 years of age now. What do you do with him? Because it's almost like...
Well, you protect him, which is what we're not doing.
Well, yeah, but
we're doing the opposite to protecting him.
He shouldn't be as important as he is. Because it shows how poor we are without him. That shouldn't be the case.
I know, but that can happen, can't it?
Player who's out of contract so soon.
You can turn around and say, why is he so important? But that does happen with certain players, doesn't it? You look at teams play a formation, have a way of playing, and certain players thrive in that and become real key players. But there is that stat that Everton have only won 3 games without Abdoulaye Doucouré since he signed, which is astonishing. It's absolutely astonishing, isn't it?
I think it's just the way we've, and obviously it was for a while we didn't use him right anyway, but I think it shows now the way we play. And certainly it shows how Dominic Calvert-Lewin plays without him being so close to him. We just can't seem to. I think we're so poor in the final third.
We are poor.
Last night I thought we were shocking.
We couldn't pass water last night, mate.
Harrison's, I think the decision making more than anything was really, really poor. With Doucouré, he's a bit slightly unorthodox, if that's a word to use. I think that means we get more chances or the ball falls in more. So we get a lot of some goals where it's just in and around the 6-yard box. Where last night it's just it's just Dominic Calvert-Lewin making runs and a really poor ball in, or crosses that just take far too long to get in.
No, you are right. The final ball last night was shocking from most of our players. Got into decent areas and delayed it or took too many touches.
Set pieces
or
were shocking
overhit
as well.
it.
Obviously, apart from Andre.
Well, Andre Gomez, like I said, the goal was totally unbefitting of the game. It's the one bit of quality on show all night from 2 teams that, like I said last night, cancelled each other out. It was a cold night, poor game.
I think the only time I was worried about sitting there for an extra half an hour was when Jean-Philippe Mateta came on, who I wasn't worried about at all, because let's be honest, when we've seen him in the flesh before, he's been absolutely awful. But I think he caused us a bit of trouble last night, to say the least.
I don't know.
He done more than...
I'll be on. No, he done more than
all game.
Than Edouard did. Edouard was poor. I don't know. Sat there last night. I just never thought I never thought they'd score a goal. But
No.
up until that's what I'm saying, until kind of stoppage time at the end, they kind of woke up and had a little flurry. But even that was, was a huge save from Virginia. And that was it, really. Both teams finished with 5 shots on target.
Yeah.
But both keepers, I think, other than that, the star save by Virginia, everything else he had was comfortable. And the same with really with Johnston. They both tipped one over in the first half at either end. Everything else was, you'd expect the goalies to save. So I think the final third was poor from both sides. But we do struggle here. But again, that's why it flips it back to Danjuma. That's why it's a strange one. And you can only read into something and make it an informed judgment on it from what you are seeing. Now, Everton might have no intention of letting them go, and this might be a smack on the wrist from Sean Dyche to go, when you're subbed, you go and sit on the bench with your teammates, you don't walk down. Whatever, it might not. He might have
Which is fair enough.
He might have just looked last night and gone, no, I'm not going to bring him on. I'm going to give Dobbin 15 minutes because he hasn't had a sniff lately. It's up to him, but I just thought there was players there who looked like Jack Harrison was knackered near the end.
Yeah.
Because he'd done a lot of running around. Dwight McNeil, like you said, could have gone off.
I think neither of them particularly had a great game.
No. So that's why you're looking and thinking, right, are they gonna mix that up? Can they mix it up? Will he put some fresh legs on and take the game away from Crystal Palace here? So we'll have to wait and see. I mean, it is, for me, it's imperative if they let Danjuma go, someone comes in. Got to bring someone in.
I think whether you get someone who is a bit different and can maybe play that number 10 role as well, because that's one thing we said about Danjuma, is he's different, he just doesn't get the game time. Or you're bringing someone who's just like, if you're taking McNeil or Harrison off, you've got a straight swap. Because then they're probably more likely to get minutes, aren't they? Like if McNeil was that poor last night, and Harrison, I've got to say, in my opinion, after 50 minutes, an hour, you're taking them off, you're putting someone who's like for like, and they might just have a better game. Or the
problem, again,
with Danjuma on, you're putting something else on, aren't you?
The problem, though, we're all going to come back to is it's going to be a loan, and who is available on loan, who can do that. That's the issue.
You're not going to get anyone who's going to come straight into the team, are you?
So therefore, why? That begs the question, and why would you leave where you are if you're not going to come into Everton's team?
Why would you even let him go? Why would you let Danjuma go if that's the case?
So, one to keep an eye on, because it doesn't seem to be any, any kind of resolution where that's concerned. We'll have to wait and see. We don't even know if the manager is giving him a smack on the wrist or he isn't giving him. He just might have decided last night wasn't the game for him as it went on. 777 were there. Looked like they had about 30 people with them. As we wait for a decision there as well. And the more I think about this, the more bizarre it is that the Premier League are just able to piss Everton about.
Well, 777, something has made them clearly quite confident that it's going to be approved, and to be sat there with Big Kev watching the game, and all happy, high-fiving everybody
Kev
at 1-0. But so if they're so confident, then what's been said, and if it is look like it's going to go ahead, then why is it taking so long to get sorted? Because we're in a situation now where we don't know where we're going to be at the end of the season. Obviously we've got the second charge, waiting to find out what's going to happen with that. We've got the first charge where we're still going through an appeal process. So we'd be in a much better situation now if we at least knew that our new owners were coming with over the line.
Well, what was a bit mad was, and again, I don't know this fully for fact, but I was reading that Chelsea, their stuff got put to the side because they were going through a new ownership thing. So it was like, we're not even going to look at that because you've got to sort the owners out first. So how come Everton can receive 2 charges and they're acted upon straight away while the Premier League piss about with an owner test?
Either say we're going to put your ownership on, we're going to put the new owner's approval on hold while we sort that out, and then we'll look at it, or get that done, you're in, and now let's look at the charges. These are the charges you're going to have to face.
But we're getting both, and they're kind of just playing. We'll do whatever we want with your future.
Because if it comes out that we win the appeal, get the points back, we're innocent, and then second charge again, we're innocent. Let's just say.
Well, the second charge.
Well, that's what the appeal is for.
If Everton get a favourable result, say, right, for the first instance, the second one goes away. There won't even be a second one.
So that's what obviously the appeal's for. So let's say we win this appeal. What sort of compensation are we entitled to from what they've put us through during the process? We can't sign players. We've had points taken off us already. So what does that do on the pitch?
It is.
And we're waiting for our new owners to come in. We can't do bugger all.
But I keep saying it. At the end of the day, make the decision quickly. If you're gonna fail them, fail them.
Yeah.
If you're gonna pass them, pass them. Because they must know. You know, the Telegraph have ran a thing saying today that Telegraph Sports has been told there were legitimate questions raised before Christmas on proof of source of funds and adequacy of capital to fund the business plan over 3 years. According to 777, those questions have all been answered in full.
Right, so for him to say, so for Richard Masters to say, it takes time because they receive answers to questions that are unsatisfactory. The why is 77 so confident that they've answered the questions to a satisfactory level?
Just all a bit of a mess, isn't
So
it?
there's obviously some sort of miscommunication or just blatant lying. He's saying one thing to us or to whoever and saying one thing to them.
It's no good. The reality of it is it's no good, is it? It's not benefiting us, is it?
It take this long. And while it's still
an
going,
open-ended process. That's the issue. They once again are doing whatever they want to do and saying, well, you know, we don't get round to it in that time. We'll take as long as we want. But then when you're smacking Everton with these charges, why are they? Have got to be dealt with immediately.
You clearly know we've got on your part, Premier League, because you've given us the charges that we've got some sort of financial issue.
Of course.
So help us get our owners in then.
But that and again, this is the crux of the thing, is that the rules are put in to help football clubs. Yeah. To try to make sure and protect them so they don't go out of business. Yet what they're doing is actually putting Everton's thingy at risk.
If you don't think it's satisfactory, and instead of waiting 5 years for them to give you right answers, say no, reject it and let other people come in if there is other people. Because they don't know that there is or isn't, do they?
Ped, have you checked out Brian Murray's thing?
Not at our end. Not at our
end. Brian, the difficulty with this is it's not actually us. It goes through Premier or Patron. What's got? Do us a favour, email us a picture of where it said it's taking it, and we'll see if we can get in touch with the help desk or whatever and see what's happening and chase that up for you and try and get it sorted, because we don't have access to. That's not us. It's through a third party.
Even on the thing, it's not showing up.
Yeah, and when Ped's checked the members thing and where it says what you've paid or whatever, it doesn't show up. So you need to either take like a screenshot with your phone and email us that so we can pass it on. Because that figure isn't even like if you'd have bought like a year, that's 40 quid. So the figure's not even. Just get a picture and get it emailed to us. David says, morning gents, I assume we have a replacement lined up if Danjuma goes, but who? Who knows?
Well, hopefully soon we start.
Hopefully someone who will come in and play a part. Chris says, all right, fellas, if Danjuma doesn't get any game time, I'd let him go for his own benefit. Love to keep him, but if Dice doesn't rate him, it's unfair for his own future and progress.
Yeah, that's fine, but if we do need a replacement, then we've got to have one lined up. You can't just let him go for him because at the end of the day, he's under contract with Everton.
Mhm.
And if Dyche decided that he's a squad player, he'll get some minutes when he needs him, then that's up to the manager, isn't it? If Danjuma wants more minutes, wants to play more, then he has to prove to Dyche that he's worth starting. But he gave him a start last week against Villa, and I wouldn't say he exactly took his chance.
Kane says, what are the positives to 777 coming to Everton? Personally can't see any. They will just continue the sinking ship. I appreciate the keeping the club afloat, loaning money, but if they take over, I personally can't see it working.
And the main benefit, Farhad Mashiri won't be our owner anymore. Which,
Yeah,
let's
but
be honest, we've got to think about why we're in such a mess we are.
No, that is.
Farhad Mashiri, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He's the owner.
I honestly can't sit here, Kane, and say it's this, it's that, because we don't know, do we? We wouldn't know till he come in. There's nobody else, as far as I'm concerned at the moment, because nobody said a word. I keep saying it, and people can say, "Oh no, they're playing a clever game." Well, it's not very clever if 777 get approved, is it? And they've lost out. So until somebody puts the head above the parapet and goes, I want to buy Everton, and I've got all this money, and I'm clean, and I'm going to do this, that and the other. These are our only hope. That people mightn't like that, but that's just, if we're dealing with facts right now, that's what they are. They might come in, get the club moving in the right direction, mightn't they? They might get things organised. They're bringing their own people in. There'll be a big shake-up at the football club, that's for sure, when they come in, if they take over. We've been run poorly for 30 years, really.
I think all you can do is just wait and see. I know you can reference the other clubs that they own, but like I said for many years with Mashiri, and unfortunately it wasn't the case with him. Learn from your mistakes and do things differently. Stop doing the same thing and expecting different results. Unfortunately for him, it didn't go that way. He ended up just getting worse and worse.
Because he's never really done.
I've got a clear plan, an idea of what they want to do with Everton.
He didn't learn.
Well, exactly.
From it, did he? Just carried on.
We'll just have to wait and see.
Rita says, guys, I agree with that. If this guy wants to go, rather than let him go. Yeah, it's only, I mean, I recall Gary Speed and Mickey Thomas being the same players like that, don't play for the badge. There was circumstances of both of those two transfers, Gary Speed in particular. But yeah, if he doesn't want to, if he just wants to play football, and the manager's not, he doesn't feel like he's getting a fair crack at the whip, then why should he stay? Chesn Collins says, not likely to get more than a couple of points back from the first appeal, then similar again. Relegation is now a real reality. I wouldn't say it's a real reality. We're in a relegation battle, but I still think Everton will get way more points than Luton Town. The Blues says, if we had another McNeil and Harrison in the squad, they'd be coming off the bench every game, I think.
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying before last night. McNeil and Harrison weren't playing good enough to stay on the pitch. If you've got someone who's like for like and is more up for it, and might be on form that day, they get a chance, they come on, they do the exact thing what the manager has asked. If McNeil and Harrison aren't doing it.
Yeah.
You get someone who's young and takes those opportunities. Unfortunately, I don't think Dobbin's quite there yet. Like I said before, I think Dobbin needs a loan out. Unfortunately, we're not in that situation. We're not in a situation where we can give him that at the moment for his own development. But
Royal Blue said on the radio the game sounded really exciting. I can tell you that in the stadium it was really boring.
Yeah.
I thought it was a dreadful game of football. It really was. But we won, and that all that matters is winning games of football, isn't it? Another clean sheet, 7 clean sheets in 11.
We saw a free kick in the flesh.
Yeah, good free kick going in. So, Simon Bell says he's personally happy to see how Dyche has got the team playing. We're hard to beat. Yeah, the quality isn't there, but it's been much worse. Emma says, only have to look at Mikalenko to see how much players come on with consistent game time. Constant chat about Patterson. It's not like Ashley Young doesn't make costly mistakes. Why not give Patterson the same courtesy? Yeah, I think he's terrified Nathan Patterson into like being so safe that you don't really want to, be risky in terms of going forward. And I think the best fullbacks take risks. He looks like he's caught between two at the moment. Yeah. But James Coleman wasn't fit, was he? Otherwise he'd have played. So Patterson's got to play, and he will. You're absolutely right, Emma. The more games you have, the better you get. Mikalenko is proven that.
I think Mikalenko has become a senior player, hasn't he? I think that's just maturity.
But I think
experience.
Yeah. But I think the minute Young's fit, he'll play. Patterson will be back out the side.
What did you make of Patterson last night?
Like I said, he looks terrified.
Yeah, defending.
He looks scared to make a mistake. And it's like they've got into his head to like, just be safe.
Yeah.
When we got him, and when you see him how he used to play, he'd fly forward. When he was at Rangers, I know it's Scotland, but his natural game is to fly forward and create chances. We've just got him. They've got him absolutely terrified.
Played some decent balls last night over the top to Calvert-Lewin. But
he did, yeah. EFC number 9 says, ask Farhad to spot 777 300 million to sign KM and give the Premier League the finger.
Kylian Mbappe.
Luke says, Baz, can you get Carragher on and educate him about why we feel we're being hard done to? He's trying to spin the narrative. We should accept what the Premier League are doing. I have actually spoken to him. I don't think... I get... He has said... What he said was our frustrations and anger should be at the club as well. And he's right in that respect, because it should be. But it is what it is. We can't go back. And the board have gone. Haven't they? The board that were there have gone. And the Premier League are. They are doing Everton. They are. The whole thing's a mess. It's an absolute mess. And we're basically just... We're a sacrificial lamb. Because they want to try to head off an independent regulator, which is going to happen. It's absolutely going to happen. So they're losing the battle with that. But yeah.
I think a lot of Carragher's thinking as well comes from the fact that he said on Sky, didn't he, that Everton are the worst ranked club in England. He said that the club came out or rang him and said that's you can't be saying that. And he's saying, well, he's basically saying,
no, he's been proven, hasn't he? He's been proven correct. But a lot of people thought that, didn't he?
Yeah.
And to be fair to him, he did say it when other people were trying to say, what are the fans moaning for? The fans are moaning because they saw this coming. Or some did. A lot did, to be fair. Yeah. Phil says the Premier League won't sanction 777 until they've punished Everton for the FFP. They want to let Chelsea off due to it being from a different regime, but they would have had to let Everton off if 777 would have come in. Yeah. That's what it seemed, wouldn't it? But who knows? Toffee Boy says we never seem to win without Dukes in the side. Hopefully that changes sooner rather than later. Well, yeah. But yeah, I mean that was they won the 4th game. I don't know whether that did 3 games or league games or cup games.
There'll be league.
There'll be league games. Yeah.
Played load.
I'm just looking for some of these. Lingard will replace Danjuma, says Liam.
Lingard, really? I can't see that happening personally.
Nordic Sniffle says the same. Could the Premier League be delaying the 777 decision to avoid the excuse of the club is under new management now? The Scott McTominay. Yeah, he'd be good, but there's no chance of Scott McTominay coming to Everton. James W. What a comment this is. The view of the free kick behind the goal looked like prime PES 6. And it did. You're absolutely correct, James. It looked like it was a video of PES. Just seen this. Kane says, is Dyche's biggest downfall trusting 13 or 14 players? Players seem burnt out, and because they've played too many games in a row, it's affecting the performances. Personally, I feel he should have used Danjuma, Beto, Gomez and Dobbin a lot more. He's not. Kane isn't Gomez's biggest fan, but you've got to manage your squad, whether they're good enough or not. I get the squad's small, but there's opportunities to rest players.
Yeah, we've said this before, haven't we? We were missing players last night. Obviously, a big one with Decore. And we still got through the game, and I think he has to put more trust in players. Like Beto, that was a game for him to start last night, in my opinion. And there's games this season where the lack of changes and lack of trust in other players has probably cost us points, because in games we've looked absolutely knackered.
Well, when you look at Newcastle, the way they hit the wall, that was Eddie Howe not using more of his players, trying to keep a certain amount fit and playing them and just thinking, we'll just play them, and the next minute, injury after injury after injury. You can't do it.
If Eddie Howe in your example there just accepted that one of the games was probably a defeat on paper and rested a few players in that game and lost anyway, then he might have won one of the games.
Yeah, exactly.
Losing all three.
Might have lost the biggest one. No, there wasn't, Abigail, because we were going to match. The Blues says PES 6 angle, what a shout. Jenny says no one worth their salt will join us with our predicament. What predicament? They'll join if they want to play games, won't they? They're not coming to Everton to further the career, as in, well, I'll go to Everton and they're going to be challenging. But if it's a European player and their country is at the Euros and that lad's not getting a go, then they're the kind of players who you get on loan because they're trying to force their way in. Plucky Panda, easy for you to say, says, our strikers seem too isolated. What could Dyche do to give them more opportunity to affect the game?
To get people closer to them, isn't he? And maybe that's why games like last night, where you are missing Decore, suit Beto, stretch the pitch. But Dominic Calvert-Lewin's not someone who can play with so much space around him. He flicks it onto nobody.
But what can he do, really?
He made a couple of decent runs in behind last night, I thought. But like I said before, the final ball was shocking every time. Every cross was coming in too late. Get them in earlier, because he's that long, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He might be able to get on them first where the defender can reach it, because he's got the longest legs ever. But you're waiting to get crosses in, and he's in the box on his own, pointing it. Get it in early. But final ball was shocking last night. And that's maybe where you need someone like Beto instead.
It's difficult, isn't it? Because the way we play isn't conducive to Dominic Calvert-Lewin. We don't get enough crosses into the box for him to attack. There's no bodies round him, so when it comes in, he's up against 2 or 3 defenders anyway. He's not a striker that can make his own goals, really.
He has to flick it down for himself.
And he had one last night where he took a touch and hit it at the Gladys Street end, and he would have gone on 2 or 3 more touches and steadied himself. He just snatched at it. So, got to get more players forward. That's just a fact. And you need someone who's creative. Bainey says the answer is no, don't let him go. We're so thin squad-wise, and a couple of injuries away from putting too much pressure on young shoulders, with the added pressure of Master's plan. Adam says, how on earth in 2024 can you still not watch your team on the television? Forget live streams at BBC and ITV have the rights to these games. How hard would it be to put the player on iPlayer, put the game on iPlayer or ITVX? I understand it's difficult when there's 64 teams left in the tournament, but how hard can it be to broadcast 8 replays over 2 nights? Having said that, I can't have imagined I'd have enjoyed the game anymore than just listening on 5 Live, but the point stands.
It meant we wouldn't have had to sit in -4 degrees cold, but even then, like we were talking a few weeks ago about the FA Cup losing the magic, and you can't even watch 2 Premier League teams in an FA Cup game on a Wednesday night on the telly. Nowhere, not even
on a Wednesday.
Steve, on a Wednesday.
Steve P says the thing that baffles me with Beto is the way he has clear strengths and weaknesses, yet we don't play to his strengths at all. We play to his weaknesses. He's not a target man. It's bizarre to me considering Dom is in poor form. We have a player there who we could play to his strengths, i.e. playing off the shoulder, playing through balls down the middle with his speed, but we don't do it. He's nothing like Dom, yet he's expected to do the same thing as him. As a Premier League manager in 2024, you should have multiple ways of playing to the strengths of your players. If we just expected them to be like for Dom, then we clearly didn't scout him because he's a completely different type of striker. Don't agree with what Ped said about him last night, not doing enough, because how's he supposed to do anything in 5 minutes at the end of a game? But like Ped said, it's horrible being a striker for Everton because you get 0 service. The fact he refuses to even try and play both of them is strange to me.
No, I agree with that statement. To be honest, doesn't do enough. He was barely noticeable.
He was on the pitch for 50.
Who, Beto?
Yeah.
He was on for 11 and he done more than Dom in the 11 minutes. But neither does Dom.
Yeah.
Dom's terrible last night again. No, he'd be Dom. Oh, that's fair enough. But then the manager played like McNeil for the whole game. And he was Crystal Palace's best player last night. Horse Feather says if his attitude is poor, let him go. Go and pay the money for Nonso or someone else will put in a shift. There's no point trying to be financially compliant. No point at all. What we do need to do is achieve 50 points in case we lose the 20.
50? You mean like including the points?
Well, we lose 20, don't we? We'd need to hit overall, but we'd need to hit like 57, maybe 56 points. So we're on 27, so we'd need like another 30 points for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Be tough, that.
You never know though. We get on a good run. Get winter out the way.
Winter's coming.
Back to one game a week. Get our players back. Drissagana back. Decore back. Get on a good run again.
Richie Kane says, I'm surprised they're still interested, to be honest. If I was Josh Wonder, I'd be renegotiating the price with Mashiri. Steve Kelly says, all right, lads, hope you both well. Standard of football last night was awful. Crazy how season ticket prices go up, but the standard of player is getting worse. It's the Premier League for you, mate. That is the Premier League for you, sadly. Quality level is on the floor with it. Standards are terrible. David says, I fully expect 777 to take over, convert debt to equity, and then in a few more years after TV money, new stadium, revenue, flip us for a profit, and I'm good with that. Fair play. Bainey says, couldn't Moss just sell his shares to 777? What could they do about it? It's still after. I think you still have to pass that test. I mean, I don't know whether Mashiri had to, but because he come in as a minority shareholder first, didn't he? And then become the largest shareholder or whatever. Or was he the he was the largest single shareholder, wasn't he, when he come in? But people still had all the other shares. But I think you probably still have to do pass something, otherwise it wouldn't be there, would it? Jack says, afternoon lads, hope you're well. Is it noticeable to you the drop off in our attack in terms of getting up the pitch when Beto replaces Dom? I know Dom isn't firing, but I feel like we still carry more threat when Dom's on. Fair play. No, I think it's noticeable how poor we are in the final third when either of them are on the pitch. Normally, the problem Beto has, and this is what I'd be saying if I was him, you keep putting me on with 5 minutes left and 6 minutes left when your wingers are on the floor, knackered, because they've done 80-odd minutes, and you won't replace them with other wingers. So we're not going to get a chance. That's more of an issue for the manager. But if he only feels like he can trust 12 players, then that's what we've just got to get used to that, haven't we?
That means every now and
what it is.
again we'll have games like Wolves away where we get
Well, we will, but
absolutely battered.
we will
with the
get
leg.
battered in games because if players can't play all the time, all the minutes, all the time. They just can't. So we will get turned over. That's the way it is. I think we just all have to accept that this is what it is right now. It's not very good to watch. We'll win games, we'll lose games, and that's it. But forget about like
ultimately that is a mid-table Premier League team. Obviously, we're not there at the moment because of the situation we're in, but I'd say where we're at now in terms of what we're like as a team and where we were.
oh yeah, no, I'm just saying that's the thing of like I gave up weeks ago on wanting us to play nice, like good football and attacking football because we just don't do it. We're just a team that we just hope that we'll get a chance.
But
we're never going to score a lot of goals.
I think there's a difference between nice football and direct football. I still like us a bit more direct.
No, but going forward, I'm not talking about tippy-tappy bollocks. I'm talking about attacking play. When you think of Everton at Goodison, and I think back at no matter who the manager was, really. Well, I'll say that.
Bodies in the
last few weeks, we'd always be an attacking side. We'd always go after games. We don't do that now under Sean Dyche, but we're also winning games. So I'm I just kind of go, okay, well, this is what we do. And we've had 7 clean sheets in 11, which is good. It's just we're just not very good offensively. And that's just the way it is. And the players, when you look at the players we've got, we're not going to be because we haven't got any pace. There's no pace. Our wingers, McNeil's got no pace. He can run with the ball. He's not quick.
Slow.
Jack Harrison's quicker than him, but holds onto the ball too much, but works his bollocks off. They both work hard. We've got Dobbins not ready. Danjuma doesn't get a sniff. Dom's, is he quick? He doesn't really out-sprint people, but he's not slow. He can get there. Midfield, right now, hasn't got any pace in it. And they don't want to go forward anyway. They want to pass it back. So just the way we play isn't conducive to that anyway. So what Everton could do with is someone who is a bit of a runner. So we could mix it up. So you've got McNeil and Harrison, the work rate, and then you've got someone to come in who can either break the lines from midfield quick, get beyond them, or beyond Beto. Or you've got a winger who can fly down the wing and open teams up that way. It's all just packaged the same way. And it's why we're durable. It's why we're solid. It's why we've had 7 clean sheets in 11. Hard working and compact. And that's okay for where we are. We can't spend money to bring in those players who are difference makers and who create things from nothing cost money. And we haven't got any money. So what the manager's done really well is he's gone, well, all right, well, the first thing we can do is make us tough to beat. And then on that, we'll have moments, either it'll be a set piece or we'll get a chance in a game and we have to take it. I'm good with that. That's the way it is.
I still think there's a few players there still got, a trick in them. McNeil's got a good left
there's
foot.
ability, of course there is.
Got the skill. But I think one thing they are missing, and you said it then, is the pace, certainly out wide. I think a bit of pace changes. It's especially a hard-working team.
Look at Palace, right?
Palace are a hard-working team.
They're just a hard-working tean, but they've got Eze, and then when Elise's there, they've got Elise near the moments of quality. Everybody else is hard-working and mobile, and that gets you where Palace always end up, mid-table. That's fine, and that's where Everton are. There's no problem with that. I'd be a bit more gutted if Everton had spent 500 million in the last 18 months on all of these flair players and the manager wasn't playing them and we were just kicking it long and opened. He can only go with what he's got. You hope that as we move forward, the recruitment team start recruiting players who are difference makers as well. And so you have got someone who can play in a 10 who's tricky.
Someone with a bit of
someone who's quick. Someone who'll get on the ball and be brave. And then you can mix that with all of the stuff that's being put in now, and you become a better team.
Well, there's people like I think Palace was a good example because they have got the players like Elise and Eze. They work hard, they get around the pitch, especially Eze, and they've got that bit of quality as well. They can sack a few players on. They've got a little trick, and they score goals as well. We haven't got someone who's quite like that, especially in midfield. I think that's maybe where you look at the Corey going out the side. I think someone like Dele Alli in some games, especially at home where teams just sit in. I think Dele gives you that something a bit different. Unfortunately, I don't think
we need to
play at all.
Yeah, I think that one's probably that shit.
Maybe Lingard is that player we saw him, you know, how well he was for West Ham in a hard-working team, had a bit of quality.
Problem with Lingard is, though,
but he's not played football for
and
a while.
it's the other stuff, isn't it? What he's got, ironically, what he's got, Everton could do with.
Yeah,
as a footballer, and then, but it's the other stuff.
Yeah,
He'll be doing bleeding TikToks if we get beat.
Yeah.
I mean, he might not. He might come in and have a good attitude, but I mean, what you've seen so far from him, and certainly of late. I mean, even Paul Scholes had to go with him the other week. You know, you're gonna get out the gym, lad, and actually play some
that season he had for West Ham, it was sort of like, you know, for me, it was like a turning point in his career.
No, he should have stayed.
But he didn't take advantage of that.
Yeah, he should have stayed, shouldn't he?
Absolutely.
Gonna finish now, but someone said West Country Blue. Anyone else think, despite all the bad blood, we should have brought Barkley? We should have brought Ross Barkley back. He's free, and he carries the ball. We didn't have anyone like that. They're the, you know, we've got to get past the thing of having a cob on and think about the team. But the manager obviously might have looked and just gone, he's not really what we need. So that's fine. You've got to listen to what the manager will use as well, haven't we? And we've seen it right now, haven't we, with Danjuma? I don't believe for 1 second Sean Dyche was saying, oh yeah, Arnaud Danjuma's who we need. Do you know what I mean? I think probably Kevin Thelwell was like, we can get this winger in. He's a forward, he can play 2 or 3 positions. We've already done a deal with Villarreal. We can get him in, he's an extra player, an attacking player. And the manager's probably gone, yeah, okay, if you think that's the deal you can do and gives us an option. But I don't think if Sean Dyche would have sat down with the recruitment team, Arnaud Danjuma's name would have been high on the list.
No.
And Ryan, I'm going to finish with you. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe. Hit the like button, subscribe, by the way. Ryan, I'm finishing with you. Who's been our best player so far this season? And it's Vitaly Michalenko for me. She's got better and better. He was good again last night. I think he's in really good form. He's playing that well. That last night, I was just like, yeah, that's Michalenko. That's a Michalenko performance. Do you know what I mean?
He's become a senior player.
It's good. It's good. So long may continue. We need some more of them to do it. Brantwaite's been brilliant. Decore's done well as well.
Yeah, James
Tarkovsky, I think, has been excellent.
James Garner making himself.
Garner's improved.
Player.
I still think there's more to come through from him. Ironically, I don't think Dwight McNeil's got anywhere near the levels he showed in the second half, but I'm hoping that now he'll step it up. Harrison's been but it's Michalenko. It's Michalenko. There's no question about it for me. But there you go. Right, be live on More Than a Game in about 5 minutes. I think it'll be Pedant Jack, so get over there, or the link's there. Just a little half an hour there, so get over, subscribe there, and watch them. See you later.